Which ECU do you need for your swap? Let's check it out. Welcome to the final video of our 6-part E30 M5X swap guide. If you haven't seen the first video, click the link right here. Now in this video we're going to be covering your ECU options and how to avoid EWS, the C101 plug wiring, and how to get the temp sensor in your E30 cluster working with the new engine. So before we talk about ECUs, let's talk about EWS. EWS was an immobilizer program that started in 1994, and it's to double check that the key you're using matches the engine, matches the ECU. And if the ECU notices that something is wrong, it won't allow the car to start. So obviously, because we've swapped a new engine into the car and we're maybe using a different ECU and definitely not the same key, the ECU is not happy and will not allow the car to start. For M50s, it's pretty simple. They have a Bosch ECU like this and it ends in 413. There's two different styles. There's one that has a red label and one that has a silver label. You're going to want to find one that has a red label like this, and the red label means that it does not have EWS. So it's good to go, plug it up to the harness, and the engine is ready to run. Now for M52s, sadly, it's just not that simple. All ECUs within the M52 generation have some sort of EWS program in them. So you have a couple different options. You can usually find a chip online that can delete the EWS, and you can just swap it out in your ECU. Or you can find a local tuner that can code your ECU to remove the EWS program. If you find a tuner, it's also worth checking to see if they can remove your ASC, secondary air pump, and any sort of other emissions related item on the engine that you probably aren't using. So for my swap, it was pretty easy. I have an M50, so I just grab my red label ECU, plug it in, and the engine's ready to run. So the next issue we face is we need to connect the engine harness and the body harness. Now, because they're from two different generations, they don't just simply plug together, we need to adapt it. So there's two different options. One, we can pull up a wiring diagram and repin the connector so that they can connect together. Or option two, we can buy a pre-made one online. In my case, I just spent the $200 and saved myself the time and the headache of rewiring plugs. So next you need to swap out the coolant temp sensor for one that works on your E30 cluster. With the intake manifold removed, you'll see there's two plugs towards the front of the engine. The one on the left side is for the ECU, and that one needs to stay. The sensor on the right side is for the E36 cluster, and that can be swapped out with your brown M20 sensor. And with that, we've completed our E30 M5X swap guide. If you have any more questions at all, leave it in the comments or message us directly on social media. We would appreciate any sort of feedback. Leave a like, a dislike, a comment, or subscribe. Thanks for watching.